As per the Iran statement so far received, so far available, three drones were neutralized by the defense system of Iran. So that means it has happened. That means this is again, there is a lot of diplomatic work. That means that Israel is going to be under a lot of pressure of the United States. And why Israel is going to be under a lot of pressure of United States is because United States understands that Iran, once it retaliates, somebody for the first time, that is Iran, has attacked them, though symbolically. The foreign policy anywhere in the world is an evolutionary system. So it evolves according to the surrounding circumstances, according to the world situation, according to the geopolitical situation. So Quaid-e-Azam never said that whatever I have said is, just follow that 100%. It was just a structure of it.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम, मैं हूं हसन जफर और आप देख रहे हैं फेडरल पोस्ट। मुझे इस वक्त ज्वाइन कर रहे हैं डॉक्टर जमील अहमद खान साहब। वेरी नाइस टू हैव यू ऑन माय शो टुडे।
Oh, glad to be here.
Thank you. The situation is Iran-Israel war at the moment. This drama started on the 1st of April, जब Damascus में एम्बेसी को अटैक किया इसराइल ने, और then 3 days ago, Iran responded to Israel with a massive strike of barrage of 300 missiles, drones, and cruise and a combination of cruise and ballistic missiles. 99% of them were diffused in the air by the air defense system, Israeli air defense system, as well as by the US and British jets. So, but the interesting thing comes with the New York Times report yesterday, जिसमें ये कहा गया कि Israelis ने Americans को on board नहीं लिया था until almost an hour before they attacked the embassy in Damascus, which took the Americans by surprise. On the other hand, जब ईरान ने रिस्पॉन्ड किया तो उन्होंने बहुत पहले बताया उन्हें, और gave them even details of all the arsenals they were firing. तो उससे, और उन्होंने ये अखबार की लैंग्वेज ये है कि the long time adversary of the United States had the courtesy of informing the United States ahead of time, और इतना एयर टाइम उसमें था, ड्रोन्स का कोई 9 घंटे का टाइम था जिसमें उन्होंने उसको, इन अदर वर्ड्स, ईरान डिड नॉट इंटेंड एनी सीरियस डैमेज, जो उनके फॉरेन मिनिस्टर ने भी कहा कि हम सिर्फ स्कोर लेवल करना चाहते थे, नथिंग मोर देन दैट। कल रात दोबारा स्ट्राइक किया, उसकी हमारे पास डिटेल्स नहीं है कि इजरायली स्ट्राइक जो है इस्फहान में उसकी क्या स्केल था और उससे क्या डैमेज हुआ है। How is this situation looking to you?
Oh, that's right. Obviously, the heat is being generated, and this tension is also getting enhanced. The escalation seems to be writings on the wall. But first thing first, you in your intro, you have mentioned about 1st of April, once sovereign space of Iran was attacked against all the international law, which is the United Nations Charter and Vienna Convention. So that was a violation which Israel did, and as a result, the Supreme Leader the same very day had very clearly announced that Israel would be punished. Now, and accordingly, they retaliated at the point in time of their own choice, the Iran. And the last week you saw, and you already mentioned about 300 projectiles fired, out of which about 70 cruise and drone, other missiles. Iran has a very good missile capabilities, but the Allied forces and the Americans and the Israelis have the patriotic missile and the Iron Dome with them, and you have already mentioned it in your intro that about 99%. Iran, as you said, never intended. 72 hours in advance, Iran had made an announcement. Iran informed it to Turkey, Iran informed it to US, Iran informed to Saudi Arabia and some of the Gulf countries that they are going to retaliate, and they're going to retaliate under Article 51 of the United Nations Charter. So they did that, and soon after that, the War Cabinet of Israel announced that they would also retaliate. So the preceding night, they have done it. As per the Iran statement so far received, so far available, three drones were neutralized by the defense system of Iran. Now, what is on ground, what is actual fact, that probably would be known later, but there's a lot of diplomacy behind it. No one less than the President of the United States had made an effort by engaging Netanyahu for 25 minutes in trying to convince that there shouldn't be any retaliation. United States and the President of the United States, they knew that why Iran has done it. They knew that Iran did it symbolically. They knew that Iran has their own problem and they have to do it. So therefore, they asked Israel to tolerate. It's the same thing. Once Qasem Soleimani was assassinated in 2020, Iran announced that they are going to strike back. They did a strike back at one of the bases in Erbil, Iraq, and they fired 5 missiles. America did not retaliate because they knew that that was within the international law and it was the compulsion of Iran that they had to do it. So, likewise, Israel now has again taken an extra mileage of. But Israel, so far, the good thing is the diplomacy is working so far. Israel has made no comment so far. And whereas Anthony Blinken, as per the material available, Anthony Blinken, instead of no comments or instead of making comment, which he should have, he refused to make any comment. So that means it has happened. That means this is, again, there is a lot of diplomatic work. That means that Israel is going to be under a lot of pressure of the United States. And why Israel is going to be under a lot of pressure of the United States is because the United States understands that Iran, once it retaliates, they would retaliate with much higher and much lethal force, as the Supreme Leader has announced already. So therefore, the US does not want the escalation to go to that level. And US knows, US and its allies, that if Israel is attacked full-fledged, then they would get involved, means the US, France, Germany, UK would get involved into it. And that would engulf in a better war zone in the entire area. So they are trying to avoid it in their own interest, in the interest of the world, because if that happens, then there is no limit to it. And then Russia and China, they automatically are sucked into it. So these are the connotations until now. I only hope that better sense prevails and Israel should not announce. If Israel announces it in their war cabinet today or tomorrow, which I doubt, then in that case, probably internally they will try and convince their public that they have done it because they are the Chaudhrys. ये चौधरी बने बैठे हैं अपने पूरे इस इलाके में जो हैं, तो वो उनको पता है कि they have been always recognized at the might, at the military might in this entire region. So somebody, for the first time, that is Iran, has attacked them, though symbolically, और वो उन्होंने ईरान ने अपनी सरजमीन से अटैक किया और ये बता दिया कि वो कर सकते हैं और ये वार्न भी कर दिया कि हम इससे 10 गुना ज्यादा ताकत से करेंगे. तो लिहाजा अगर वो अनाउंस करते हैं वॉर कैबिनेट, तो ईरान की मजबूरी हो जाएगी कि वो फिर इसका जवाब दे. फिर ये टेट फॉर टैट का मामला ये काफी आगे चलता जाएगा और इसकी फिर कोई हद मुकर्रर नहीं की जा सकती. Intended and unintended. I'm more worried about unintended consequences.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, you rightly pointed out the thing, the deterrence which they had created, rather situation Israel had always created in the region of the Chaudhry of the area. How far is that challenged or reduced by Iran's attack? It puts Netanyahu in a very precarious situation, as we all can see. If he doesn't respond, he looks quite impotent. And if it does, where does it lead? Nobody knows, as you rightly pointed out.
Yeah, it all depends how much pressure United States. As per my experience and my understanding and my analysis, in the United States, if they simply tell Israel that okay, we are taking our warships, पहली बेड़े हम अपने इधर से हटा के ले जा रहे हैं वापस, तो इसराइल ऑटोमेटिकली वो ठंडा हो जाएगा, फिर वो उसने स्ट्राइक नहीं करना है। जैसा कि मैंने बताया कि अगर ईरान ने इस दफा, जैसा कि उनके सुप्रीम लीडर ने कहा है कि वो 10 टाइम्स हायर इंटेंसिटी से अटैक करेंगे, और अभी तक मुझे नजर नहीं आती है वो नौबत, क्योंकि अनाउंस नहीं हुआ है इसराइल की तरफ से। तो अगर वो करेंगे तो फिर अमेरिका, क्योंकि अमेरिका की जो कांग्रेस है, अमेरिका की जो फाइनेंशियल सिस्टम है, अमेरिका की जो मीडिया है, और इसी तरह काफी मुल्कों में, उसमें सहूनी जो ताकतें हैं, जो सहूनी तहरीक इब्तदा जिसकी हुई थी 1887 में, 97 में, स्विट्जरलैंड के सरजमीन से, जिसकी वजह से इसराइल बना, जिसकी वजह से ये ताकतें कांग्रेस में भी हैं और बाकी मुकामात पर, और जिसकी वजह से अमेरिका बहुत दफा मजबूर होता है कि वो इसराइल को अपनी हिमायत जारी रखता रहे। और नो वन लेस देन द स्टेट मिनिस्टर, which is Anthony Blinken, has in a very clear terms while addressing the crowd in Israel has said that, look, Jew first and then anything else. It's his own wordings. It's not my comment. I'm not making any comment. Anyone can have any faith. I have no problem with it. But if someone associates that faith with the aggression, then that becomes a problem for the world, and that goes against the international law. So therefore, if we connect the dot, then that support, it seems that has been not withdrawn completely, but has been put in hibernation only for this occasion. But if Iran retaliates, and it appears, retaliate if Israelis accept, because they have gone to a very sensitive place, and that is Isfahan. Isfahan is the sites of the nuclear enrichment. Although Iran has secured it in the mountains after the nuclear accord in 15, once it was withdrawn from the United States, Iran did not have any international obligation or the obligation of the treaty not to go ahead with their program. My understanding is Iran in last 2 years, once the accord was broken by United States, Iran has further strengthened itself in its nuclear power. And I can quote certain analysts of the world, and a very important analyst, they say that Iran, if it is pressed against the wall, they now seem to have the capability, nuclear capability. And if it's pressed behind the wall, they might as well think of that also. But one thing which I must underline here and underscore here, that Israel would not like any powerful person looking into their eyes, like it happened with Iraq, and they neutralized it. Syria, they neutralized it. They find it very hard to neutralize Iran. So sometime in my talk shows, I use one phrase that one by one and turn by turn.
So whose turn is it next? Netanyahu's
Anyone.
or because if they don't respond, if Netanyahu chooses to hold back and exercise extreme restraint, as the IAE observers they were demanding, what happens?
Well,
Hezbollah and
what happens?
Hamas get
He is
extremely
already
aggressive.
That's right.
How will they deal with the proxies? Because then Iran has nothing to lose.
That's very much so. And Iran has, first of all, Netanyahu. Netanyahu is obviously he is thriving on the aggression and he is now posing himself in front of his nation that he is the one who can rescue the honor and dignity of Israel and can save Israel. But Israel is he has so many cases against him, and if uh, they don't strike back, Netanyahu has his own job at the stake. तो इसलिए नेतन्याहू महसूस होता है कोई ना कोई जरूर इसमें एक्शन लेने की कोशिश करेगा, लेकिन अभी तक तो पॉजिटिव ये है बात कि इसराइल ने अनाउंस नहीं किया है, एक्सेप्ट नहीं किया है। उसकी एक और वजह मेरे जहन में, मेरा अपना तजिया है, और वो ये है कि क्योंकि नाकाम रहा और जो ड्रोन्स वहां गिराने की कोशिश की गई, जैसा कि ईरान कह रहा है और उसने अपने ऑफिशियल बयान में कह दिया है कि 3 ड्रोन हमने न्यूट्रलाइज कर दिए इस्फहान में, तो अगर वो कामयाब हो जा तो शायद वो एक्सेप्ट कर लेते। कामयाबी नहीं हुई, जिसकी वजह से वो एक्सेप्ट नहीं करेंगे। इसलिए नहीं करेंगे कि फिर जो दुनिया समझती है कि इजराइल जो है वो मिलिट्री माइट है, तो उससे खता कैसे हो गई, उससे खता कैसे हो गई, वो तो अगर उसने निशाना बनाया तो निशाना लगना चाहिए था। तो ये भी वजह एक हो सकती है, जो कि मेरा तज्जिया।
Where does Pakistan stand in the event of an all-out war?
अभी तक तो पाकिस्तान,
because we are treading a very tight rope here. We have Iran, we have Saudi Arabia, Saudi delegates are in Pakistan at the moment, apparently talking about money, investment, other things, but who knows? What is Iran doing? We had some skirmishes with Iran a couple of months ago, but now their president is set to visit Pakistan. Where do we go?
Pakistan has a very precarious situation, and Pakistan so far is balancing its acts, and Pakistan is going in a very balanced manner. But if the full-fledged war breaks in the region, then most of the regional countries would get sucked into it, right? So at that time, it's the emerging situation which would dictate, and Pakistan at that time cannot remain alienated with what is happening around the region, because it's going to impact every and any country within the region and outside. So therefore, Pakistan obviously would get roped into it unnecessarily.
But traditionally, we have maintained a balanced relationship with Saudi Arabia and Iran.
That was the Qaid-e-Azam's foreign policy, and we are trying to maintain it as much as possible.
But if you allow me to say, does Qaid-e-Azam's foreign policy still remain relevant? Because realistically speaking, things change with time. We can't follow a 100-year-old policy forever.
The foreign policy anywhere in the world is an evolutionary system. So it evolves according to the surrounding circumstances, according to the world situation, according to the geopolitical situation. So Qaid-e-Azam never said that whatever I have said is, just follow that 100%. It was just a structure of it. Like Oman is a very, neutral country. They are surviving. They have best of the best relations everywhere. So there are so many other countries. They are trying to strike balance and moving on. So that is what I meant, that Pakistan, and particularly Pakistan, once we have this kind of a dismal state of affair in our economy and in our political instability, what we witness. So under these circumstances, we are not really in a position to unnecessarily get into something which is not necessitated and get involved and hoop up all the resources what we have.
With your valuable time for us, Dr. Khan, Ambassador Saab, ijazat chahunga for taking my questions and
it was pleasure being with you.
Sharing your views with us, and with this hope that sanity prevails everywhere and we can find a better future for ourselves. आपसे इजाजत चाहूंगा और आप लोगों के देखने का बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया। खुदा हाफिज। पाकिस्तान जिंदाबाद।